It's the final week of legislative action at the Illinois Statehouse, and we could see some tax relief. We could see increased funding for various types of programs that some say can help curb crime. Will we see some substantive changes to the criminal code on things like the organized retail theft or increased carjackings? What exactly are we going to see at the Illinois Statehouse? It's going to be an interesting week with the early adjournment date of April 8th. Now, typically, as we know here with Springfield's Morning News, May 31st is when the spring session usually goes until, but they've said they had plenty of work done from last year, and this year they're really just going to focus on the budget. And then all of a sudden we saw all the different types of things pop up, and that includes increased inflation, record amounts, high energy prices, and a variety of things. This while you also have former Illinois House Speaker Michael Madigan charged with 22 counts of corruption for his long time as Speaker of the Illinois House, but also as chairman of the Democratic Party of Illinois. So we'll touch on all of these things and what to expect moving forward here. But it was a pretty fascinating week last week, kind of lining up this week to be just as much of a fascinating time. And we'll bring you all the latest, of course, day after day here with Springfield's Morning News. I'm Greg Bishop at 641. You can always call in live and local at 217-629-7970. You can also email bishoponair@gmail.com or find me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and we can connect that way. So Friday, Democrats in the Illinois Senate, they were busy. They were definitely putting together a variety of packages to deal with some of the biggest issues that are on everybody's radar right now, especially it being an election year, which is something else some people speculate is why they have the early adjournment date of April 8th, so that various members of the State House can go out and, campaign for the June 28th primary leading up to the November election. We'll see how that plays out. But obviously, it's an election year. Some of the big things on top of people's minds are high taxes combined with high inflation, high fuel prices. I mean, I just noticed overnight, looked like gas increased about 30 plus cents. Drove by one station on my way home from murder mystery play practice, which, by the way, if you still need your tickets to the Chatham Area Public Library Murder Mystery, it's a fundraiser. It's a great time. I'm in it. Megan's in it. Whole host of cast characters, including Dave Kimsey, the village president of Chatham. So you want to check that out. It's going on Friday and Saturday. Anyway, selfless plug there. But as I was driving by a gas station last night, I saw gas was like $4.27 or something. I was like, hey, all right, hopefully it's going downward. But I drove by a gas station today, and it was back up to like $4.50 something. So obviously, everybody's paying more, and there's a recognition of this, especially it being an election year. But there's also recognition of the ongoing issues of crime and what to do about crime. But before we touch on those things, I did want to talk briefly here about some of the issues that we're seeing when it comes to former House Speaker Michael Madigan and a judge actually giving the speaker's defense 4 months to be able to look into all of the evidence that they have. 4 months. All right. So a Friday hearing out of a federal court in Chicago. It was done by telephone. The judge laid out some of the things that, that they need to address in kind of a housekeeping type of manner. But ultimately, the top line there is that a judge is giving the defense in the speaker's case where he's charged with racketeering, bribery, extortion. These types of things obviously are pretty abhorrent when it comes to being charged, but the judge giving the defense 120 days to be able to review what they said is millions of documents of evidence. So I connected with the corruption expert that we go to hear more about these things, David Parker, and he laid out that this is going to be a long case. All right, going through documents is going to be an important issue when it comes to how exactly the defense provides their defense and also how the prosecution provides their prosecution.
It's wise that the clerk would.
So what you have is, again, the millions and millions of documents that are going to have to be reviewed here by all sides.
going through the documents, maybe strings of emails, who knew what when. They'll have teams of attorneys going through this stuff and looking at it and kind of, tracing things along and try to find chinks in the armor.
But Parker also noted that something else the judge did on Friday in the Madigan case was ultimately recusing one of his law clerks. And this was early on in the status hearing where the judge said, and again, here's a quote. I was able to tune into that. And he said that there was no other conversation about what the previous work was, but the judge noting that his law clerk recused herself because she worked with the defense for Madigan long ago. Not Madigan specifically, but worked with the defense attorneys that are now representing Madigan. So the judge saying that there was no other conversation about what the previous work was, but she's been recused and walled off from the case. David Parker, again, with St. Xavier University, he said that this was a smart move by the judge. You got to get all conflicts of interest out of the way.
It's wise that the clerk recused herself and said, hey, okay, I want to make sure nobody thinks there's anything squirrely going on here that could be damaging to either side's case. In this case, certainly the prosecution.
So you've got that going on in the background while state lawmakers are ultimately at the Capitol hashing out what to do with the budget, hashing out what to do with taxes, hashing out what to do with crime. But what about ethics? What about corruption? There is one measure that was filed at the statehouse that would actually take away a lawmaker's pension if they're facing criminal charges. This is House Bill 5737, filed by State Representative Amy Ellick. She's a Republican from Fosterburg. And ultimately what the bill says is that any lawmaker that's getting a retirement pension that could be suspended if they're charged with something that's considered a crime conducted as their time as an elected official. Will that measure go anywhere? Not too sure. But coming back, we will talk more about some of the issues that lawmakers are looking at when it comes to the economy, when it comes to crime. So we'll unpack those things and give you a little bit of a preview of sorts of what's going to be happening in the next 5 days here. Friday's the adjournment date. I can't wait for that. So we'll get to that next here with Springfield's Morning News. I'm Greg Bishop on 92.7 WMAY, Springfield's News and Talk. Let's take a look at Springfield's 5-day dependable forecast, where you've got a high of around 59 expected today with a continued chance of showers. Showers tonight as well, the low of 42. Tuesday, showers with a high near 60. And then Wednesday, showers possible with a high of 61. Getting back to more mild conditions Thursday with a high of only 50, a chance of showers, and then 44 the high Friday with a continued chance of rain. Right now, some light rain as we've got a mix of some clouds out there, 49 degrees here with WMAY at 648 from Culver's West on Wabash.
Shrimp, cod, and walleye, oh my, cooked to golden perfection at Culver's West on Wabash.
Hey, my new phone is a 30-day guarantee.
Lame.
Your new tires, 60-day guarantee.
Please.
When you already have the Verlo mattress lifetime comfort guarantee, no other guarantee can measure up. Because Verlo makes every mattress we sell, we can take it apart and adjust it for your changing body. Or if you simply change your mind, softer here, firmer there. Anytime, as often as you like, next month, next year, next whenever.
Right, my brand new lawnmower, 120 days, satisfaction guaranteed.
Really?
120 days is like half a baseball season.
I'm half impressed.
Only Verlo offers comfort adjustments, if you want them, for the lifetime of your mattress, so you can get comfortable and stay comfortable. Guaranteed. It's not just what makes Verlo different, it makes Verlo better. Verlo, building a better night's sleep for less.
I think we've made contact with that famed eccentric French underwater explorer.
Oui, oui.
Ah, good, you can hear me. What have you found? You're kidding, what else? Oh, this is amazing, ladies and gentlemen. You are hearing history being made. He's discovered... Say again? The basement of Charlie Larson on Douglas Avenue. Wow. Yes, he thought his basement was lost due to a faulty sump pump. Oh, you got that right. Easter Day Plumbing could have prevented this whole thing. Sump pumps only last about 5 to 8 years, and sump pumps have been getting quite a workout lately. Easter Day Plumbing can put a new sump pump in there and a backup sump pump and protect your home.
Oh, sacre blue!
You found Mr. Larson's blue socks. Well, this is an historic day. Protect your basement from water damage and French explorers by calling Easter Day now.
Every day, Easter Day, ready for you now. Call 527-8000.
Lauterbach Man here. I'm the hulking, handsome man standing out front of Lauterbach Tire and Auto. At Lauterbach Tire, we sell tires. Maybe that sounds obvious to you, but when I say tires, I just don't mean those rubber things on your car. We're exceptional at that, but we also have tires for trailers, motorhomes, and those adorable little tires on your lawnmower. Now, where else will you find those kinds of choices, One place made for people who need tires on anything that needs tires, Lauterbach Tire. We also have tires on our comfy shuttle van. That means while our expert technicians are working on your car, truck, or lawnmower, we'll shuttle you wherever you need to go. I mean, within reason. We're not going to drive you to Germany or anything like that. That's silly. Nothing to see there anyway. When you need tires for anything that needs tires, come to Lauterbach Tire. Lauterbach Tire and Auto Service on Wabash. Drive safely now. On tires.
Anxiety. There's plenty of it to go around for just about everyone these days. But the question is, how are you dealing with it? Anxiety can make things difficult. If you find yourself reaching for drugs or alcohol as the solution, chances are your anxiety has gotten out of control. It's time to pick up the phone and call Gateway Foundation. You'll talk with someone who holds the strictest confidentiality so that you can open up and learn about treatment options. Our team of professional counselors, therapists, psychiatrists, and physicians have a long history of helping people like you get back on track. During the healing process, you'll find that there is nothing to be ashamed of. Calling Gateway Foundation is that important first step towards getting away from the self-medication of alcohol and other substances and on the road towards safe, rewarding, and sustainable recovery. Call Gateway Foundation at 877-505-HOPE for a free, private, confidential screening. Gateway Foundation, addiction medicine saving lives.
Get ready for the sale of a lifetime.
Okay, I'm ready.
A matchup for the aged. Washers, dryers. Buy one pedestal, get the second one free.
Where at?
Great prices, great service.
And where do I go?
Excitement, breathtaking.
Oh, good grief. Give me the name of the store.
Dick Van Dyke Appliance World.
Oh, perfect. Well, I've heard of them.
Full showroom, happy salespeople.
Okay, radio guy. Thanks for your help.
Don't forget to mail my check.
Absolutely. I'll take it from here. I'm Dennis Reekin, owner of Dick Van Dyke Appliance World. Our warehouse is full of washers and dryers, GE, Frigidaire, Electrolux, Whirlpool, Speed Queen. Save money and get a free protection plan all month at Dick Van Dyke Appliance World.
Wow. Dick Van Dyke Appliance World. When you buy from us, you get the whole store.
Springfield's Morning News with Greg Bishop. Weekdays 6 till 9 on 92.7 WMAY.
This plan deals with the high cost of groceries and inflation that everyone is seeing, the high cost of gas. That's why you see a very comprehensive plan.
Unfortunately, it's a campaign season, and so one political party says, well, we're going to throw out some temporary tax relief right before the election.
So that is a bit of a kind of a sample of what we're going to hear over the next week when it comes to the ideas to help the individuals out there, you and I, kitchen table issues with high inflation, high fuel prices, high taxes in Illinois. And as we rapidly approach the end of session, April 8th, we're going to see some of these ideas ultimately pop on the House of the floor house and of the floor of the Senate as well. It is Springfield's Morning News. I'm Greg Bishop. Happy Monday after a pretty busy weekend, and it's going to be a busy day today as well. So what we have on Friday was, I guess, Senate Democrats really showing their work before they actually get into session this week. to start passing these things before the final days of session. And some of it's going to impact the budget. Actually, all of this is going to impact the budget. Tax and spend policies being discussed. We'll talk about the tax relief issues here in a moment that Illinois Senate Democrats are hoping to accomplish here. But they did also address some of the issues about crime and how to ultimately curb crime. And one of the things that they laid out was an idea to spend more in various areas, and that spending is going to be in the billions. Illinois Democrats proposing legislation they say will fight crime in the state, but it comes with that hefty price tag. It's an election year, and one of the major issues, of course, is crime. Now, State Senator Robert Peters, he was a driving force behind the criminal justice reform package known as the Safety Act, which has been criticized by police and by Republicans. And he outlined some of his concerns here and why he wants to get this package of spending together.
They must know that we want a public safety for and by the people. We want good housing. We want good schools, good jobs, getting from point A to point B.
So Senate Bill 4204 would appropriate about $5 billion to address what Democrats call the root of crime, including funding teen programs and after-school programs. There's also a Senate amendment to House Bill 4736, includes a measure that would strengthen witness protection programs and create a statewide anonymous tip hotline, similar to what you think of like Crime Stoppers, for instance. So those are some of the things that Democrats, at least in the Illinois Senate, are looking to do to curb crime. More funding for after-school programs, more funding for certain types of social services, increased funding for the Child Care Assistance Program, and so on, to the tune of $5+ billion. And again, this is all something that's going to be included into the budget negotiations, and the budget needs to be in place before May 31st, which that gives the governor time to review and sign before it starts July 1st, but lawmakers are closing up session April 8th. One thing they also discussed, Senate Democrats coming out with a package of tax relief proposals. And it includes a variety of things. Now, some idea that the Democrats offered, like an earned income tax credit, a $500 tax credit for volunteer firefighters, and a $250 credit for teachers would be permanent. Other parts of the package would be temporary, like a one-time income tax refund of up to $200 for joint filers and up to $300 in property tax rebates. Now, the freezing of the looming gas tax that's pegged to inflation that hasn't even kicked in yet, that would be temporary and only for 6 months, as would freezing the 1% grocery tax. That would, again, would only be good for 6 months. So Senate Democrats unveiling that package, and you have State Senator L.G. Sims talking about all the aspects of this and who's impacting, and also how they might come back after the November election and take up more issues concerning the economy. But Republicans were quick to criticize this, saying that it's temporary. You'll hear L.G. Sims, but also you'll hear Republican State Senator Jason Plummer here, and this is just some of the back and forth that there's been in the past 48 hours or so.
We wanted to make sure that we got this proposal in front of everybody, so you had the opportunity to see it. But again, this is a comprehensive plan. This plan addresses a myriad of issues, from property taxes to direct support for individuals, for direct support for low-income individuals. This plan deals with the high cost of groceries and inflation that everyone is seeing, the high cost of gas. That's why you see a very comprehensive plan. We will be in session at the end of this year, so we'll have the ability to review all of these proposals at that time. But that's why the legislature is in session in the fall veto session. We have the opportunity to look at emerging issues at that time.
Well, I think if Republicans had a magic wand, we'd say we need permanent tax relief. We need permanent relief for Illinoisans. This is what we've talked about all the time. We need to look at property taxes, gas taxes, all of these things that shrink our state and keep families in Illinois under the thumb. Unfortunately, it's a campaign season, and so one political party says, well, we're going to throw out some temporary tax relief right before the election. We don't need election year gimmicks. We need true reform so that Illinois families, Illinois businesses can thrive again.
So that gives you a little bit of an indication of some of the major issues we're likely to hear about heading into Friday when they wrap up spring legislative session. It is Springfield's Morning News. I'm Greg Bishop. Coming up on 7 o'clock. A lot more to get to, including business in the 217 here on WM.